I'll send Topuria back to top 15 pound for pound. For me, it's easier to fight Topuria than Oliveira.
He has no chances. Like, first minutes of the fight, what he's gonna do? Go for the takedowns. Bro, come on.
But you did not miss weight last time.
No, I have never ever like issue with my weight, and the make the weight is not a hard deal for me. So, and for especially how you can miss the weight if you're been waiting for that fight like 6 years.
Technically, it should be Arman Tsarukyan because he is truly the number one contender. But they basically forced this Paddy Pimblett versus Ilia Topuria.
I think Arman does the best against him just because he'll kick more high kicks, and he'll use the range a little better on the outside and shoot faster.
And scramble better.
Yeah, and scramble better.
Arman Tsarukyan would be the one that, in my opinion, might give him the most problems because Arman's not going to stand with him. Arman's going to make it a grappling war. So it's going to be a war of nutrition. Can Ilia survive the continuous ground attack that Arman's going to put on him, and that would be the test.
Ilia Topuria shook up the lightweight division by beating one of the best lightweights of all time, Charles Oliveira, in dominant fashion. Now everyone is wondering who should fight him next. Many UFC fighters believe Arman Tsarukyan is the only real challenge for Ilia right now. Arman agrees and says Ilia is overhyped and that he can easily beat him. Arman Tsarukyan is confident about his skills and believes he will send Ilia Topuria back to the top 15 in the pound-for-pound rankings. He thinks it is easy for him to fight Topuria. Arman said he can take Topuria down many times without any problem because Topuria will not try to choke him or do anything dangerous on the ground.
I'll send Topuria back to top 15 pound for pound. For me, it's easier to fight Topuria than Oliveira. And then you can just go 1,000 times to take him down because he's not gonna try to choke you or something,
Arman Tsarukyan explained his plan for a possible fight with Ilia Topuria. He said he is a well-rounded fighter and will not only use wrestling. Arman wants to strike, kick, and even use up kicks against Topuria. He added that he will not focus on boxing, but will show Topuria what a real MMA fight looks like.
I'm just can't wait to go there and to show who's the Arman Tsarukyan and why I'm number one contender, and that day I'm gonna be a world champion. So it's not just wrestling. I'm a well-rounded fighter, and I'm not gonna just try to wrestle him. I'm gonna strike him. I'm gonna kick him. I'm gonna up kick him, and try to do. But yeah, obviously I'm not gonna try to box him. I'm gonna try to do a real MMA fight, to show him wrestling, to punch him wrestling, to show him wrestling, to kick him, and clinch work.
Arman Tsarukyan also talked about the altercation between Paddy and Topuria inside the ring. He said it was a mistake by Joe Rogan to invite Paddy Pimblett into the octagon. He was surprised when it happened and was afraid that Paddy might not get the title shot ahead of him. But after Dana White said it shouldn't happen that way, Arman felt relaxed that Paddy is not going to fight for the title and believes the number one contender should get the title fight.
It was a Joe Rogan mistake.
Oh, Joe Rogan called him in?
Yeah, Joe Rogan called him. It was the Joe Rogan mistake, and he shouldn't call his even name, bring him to the octagon, or Paddy. He called the Paddy to come to the octagon. And yeah, I was surprised, but when Dana said it shouldn't be like that, I said, okay, hopefully he's not fighting for the title.
Arman Tsarukyan also shared his game plan for a fight with Ilia Topuria, saying he plans to strike and kick Topuria. He watched Ilia's first fight and noticed that Ilia got tired and took breaks. Arman thinks Ilia has never fought someone like him before. Arman also criticized Topuria's skills by talking about his fight with Bryce Mitchell, who he thinks is the worst fighter at 145 pounds. Arman mentioned that Bryce took Ilia down and held him in a bad position, which showed Arman that Ilia is not at a very high level.
I'm gonna strike him, I'm gonna kick him. I watched his first fight, and he was wrestling a little bit. He got tired so much, and he never fought with wrestlers like me. Bruce Mitchell, or what's his name? Bruce?
Bryce Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell.
Bryce Mitchell, he's the worst fighter in 145. He took him down and like hold him from the crazy position. And I can tell he's not high level. I mean, it's not WWE. I can't wait to show like everybody.
You said Bryce Mitchell's the worst fighter at 145.
I mean, he's did you watch his fights?
I did. I've watched his fight.
His kicks, like he think he's kicking the ball. I think
Like soccer?
like soccer. Yeah.
You're so crazy, Arman. You're crazy.
Meanwhile, Din Thomas believes Arman Tsarukyan would be the toughest opponent for Ilia Topuria because Arman understands distance better and has better takedowns than Paddy Pimblett. Din also said Ilia might even dominate Paddy on the ground. However, Din admits that Paddy is most likely to get the title shot because of the numbers, popularity, and their beef. Moreover, Thomas is confident that Arman is the most competitive fighter against Ilia out of Gaethje and Paddy.
Who is the most likely to get the title shot?
I think Paddy is still most likely to get it right now. He's just gonna have to be fair with the number.
Yeah, he's gonna have to be. Who's best suited to be the most competitive with Topuria out of those?
Arman.
Gaethje, Paddy, or Arman?
Arman.
That's what I thought too.
Din Thomas further explained why he thinks Arman Tsarukyan would beat Ilia Topuria. He said Arman is 100% the toughest fight for Ilia. Din admitted that Paddy Pimblett might kick better, but Arman understands range better and has better takedowns than Paddy. He also said Arman throws more high kicks, uses his reach well on the outside, and can shoot faster and scramble better. Din added that Paddy would probably just pull guard, and Ilia might even dominate him on the ground. That's why Din believes Arman has the best chance against Ilia.
Arman, 100%. Here's why. Paddy might kick better. They might be close in that. But I think Arman will understand the range a little better, and he shoots better. I think he shoots better than Paddy. Yeah, I think Arman does the best against him just because he'll kick more high kicks, and he'll use the range a little better on the outside and shoot faster.
And scramble better.
Yeah, and scramble better. Paddy will just pull guard, and Ilia might even dominate him on the ground. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I thought the same thing. Well, I guess we're gonna see.
Demetrius Johnson also thinks Arman Tsarukyan is clearly the true #1 contender, and he should get the title shot now ahead of Justin and Paddy. However, he believes the UFC is pushing for a fight between Paddy Pimblett and Ilia Topuria instead, just because it will probably make more money and attract more attention. The Might Mouse wants the UFC to give respect to the rankings and give the #1 contender a deserving title shot.
Don't give it to Justin Gaethje. Give it to Arman Tsarukyan.
Who?
Give it to Arman Tsarukyan.
This guy?
No, not Paddy. That's the right. It needs to be him. Arman Tsarukyan. See, I feel like Ilia is going to be a guy who fights 3 or 4 more times and retire.
What's this, McGregor part?
I don't know. I mean, this is what I'm talking about, guys. This is why I say it's a reality TV show. It's like, obviously, Arman Tsarukyan is the #1 contender. He's ranked #1, whatever you guys want to, go by the rankings. But they're forcing this fight with Paddy Pimblett versus Ilia Topuria just because it's probably going to sell more. But I think the rightful person who should be getting the next title shot at lightweight is Arman Tsarukyan.
Demetrius Johnson said that Arman Tsarukyan should be the next opponent for Ilia Topuria because he is the true #1 contender. However, he thinks the UFC wants Ilia to fight Paddy Pimblett instead because of their personal rivalry, which would sell more tickets and get more attention. Johnson said this shows the UFC cares more about entertainment and making money than treating MMA like a real sport, comparing it to WWE.
Who is next for Ilia Topuria? Now, technically, it should be Arman Tsarukyan because he is truly the #1 contender. But they basically forced this Paddy Pimblett versus Ilia Topuria engagement because there is beef between those guys. They have had some exchanges before outside of the octagon. But this is where I had this hot take recently this week is that I said the UFC is not a sport. Like, they get to dictate what they want to push the narrative of what the fans want to see, which that's not what a sport is dictated on. And it's funny because my dad and my wife, Destiny, were watching their fights. And like, what the f? It's like WWE all over again.
Islam Makhachev's coach, Javier Mendez, also believes Arman Tsarukyan is the only fighter who can really challenge Ilia Topuria at lightweight. Javier said Arman would give Ilia the most problems because Arman wouldn't just stand and strike with him. Instead, Arman would turn it into a grappling battle. Javier questioned whether Ilia could handle Arman's non-stop ground attacks, saying that would be the real test for him. He also mentioned how Ilia stopped Charles Oliveira's takedown and reversed it in the air, showing how dangerous Ilia is, but still thinks Arman's grappling could make it difficult for him.
Arman Tsarukyan would be the one that, in my opinion, might give him the most problems because Arman's not going to stand with him. Arman's going to make it a grappling war. So it's going to be a war of nutrition. Can Ilia survive the continuous ground attack that Arman's going to put on him? And that would be the test. Can he do that? I don't know. Maybe he can. I mean, look what he did to Charles. Charles came in for the takedown. He freaking switched it on him midair. That was very impressive, man.
Meanwhile, Demetrius Johnson also praised the skill set of Ilia Topuria and believes he will finish his career the same way Khabib did, undefeated and with nothing left to prove. He thinks fans will only see Topuria fight 3 to 5 more times before he retires. Demetrius said that if Topuria stays undefeated, he could be like Khabib and leave the sport, saying he is done and doesn't need to prove anything else.
I think he's a unicorn. Like, I think you're going to see him 3 or 4 more times, maybe 5 max, and he's going to disappear. He's like, I'm done, undefeated. He could be a potential Khabib. Someone who just leaves the sport. It's like, I'm done. Don't need to prove anything. I won the belt at 45, 55, and shit, potentially, he could fight at 172.
On the other hand, Daniel Cormier was surprised to learn that Ilia Topuria, like Arman Tsarukyan, comes from a wealthy family. He joked about the idea of 2 rich guys fighting for the UFC title. Daniel said it would be crazy because they didn't make their money from fighting, and usually rich people don't choose to fight at all.
So when I talked to Ilia, I was talking to him about his $2 million gym that he has in his house, and I go, well, man, now you might have money now after these 2 wins. But before, I'm like, how do you have so much money? Come to find out, Ilia got family money. Ilia's rich. Hey, Ilia's got family money. And then Tsarukyan, I saw Tsarukyan just housing $1,000 a bite of caviar. He's just housing like caviar. Like, Arman's like rich. Could you imagine 2 rich dudes fighting for a UFC title? Like 2 rich dudes that didn't get their money in fighting would be the craziest thing because rich dudes don't fight.
Meanwhile, Ilia Topuria talked about Arman and the possibility of their fight. He said that Arman Tsarukyan looked scared after watching him knock out Charles Oliveira. Ilia claimed that Arman was thinking he was going to be the backup fighter for that match and felt relieved that nothing happened to Charles. According to Ilia, Arman was thankful because he knew that a knockout could have happened to him instead.
Ahí estaba Arman también, que pues obviamente se le veía
cagado también. Se le veía una cara de shock cuando vio el knockout. Dijo, ¡buah! Yo iba a ser el reemplazo de este combate. Menos mal que Dios bendiga a Charles, que no le haya pasado nada, porque este iba a ser yo. Él siempre da el peso cuando sabe que no va a pelear. Siempre da el peso. Cuando él sabe que le va a tocar pelear, ahí ya da el peso y es, uy, mi espalda.
Arman Tsarukyan responded to Ilia Topuria's statement after UFC 317 by saying that running from the real contender only shows that Ilia is scared. Arman said that deep down, Ilia knows exactly what would happen if they ever fought each other in the cage. Running from the real contender only proves one thing: you're scared. Deep down, you know exactly what happens if you ever step in there with me. On the other hand, Dana White talked about Arman Tsarukyan's past mistakes and how he is making a comeback. He said Arman once had the chance to fight for the title but didn't make weight, calling it the worst mistake possible. However, Dana pointed out that Arman recently came as a backup fighter and made weight, which shows he is fixing his mistakes and moving in the right direction.
Yeah. With Arman Tsarukyan weighing in as the backup, is he getting back in the good graces with you and the...
Well, it's not about getting back in the good graces. It's about, the guy had the opportunity to fight for a title and didn't make weight. It's just, you couldn't fuck anything worse than that. But he proved, now that he's not fighting for the title, and he was here as a backup fighter. He made weight, so it's definitely a step in the right direction.
However, Arman Tsarukyan rejected these claims and said he has never had trouble making weight. He explained that it's not difficult for him, especially when he knows about a fight months ahead of time. Arman said if you wait so long for a big fight, you have plenty of time to prepare your body properly. He also shared that for this fight, he was even lighter than before, showing that weight was never an issue for him.
Yeah, I go, him stepping on the scale is a big thing considering he missed weight last time. But you did not miss weight last time.
No, I have never ever like issue with my weight, and the make the weight is not a hard deal for me. So, and for especially how you can miss the weight if you're been waiting for that fight like 6 years, and like I knew about that fight before 4 months. Like you can bring your body like till that day where you're like good, you know, and it's not like 4 weeks or 3 weeks. You gotta jump in on a diet and like could do a lot of cardio, and I was lighter than the last ones, you know.
Arman explained that the real problem was not his weight, but an injury. He said he overtrained and hurt his back, especially when he was dehydrated. Doctors checked him and told him that if he couldn't move properly or make the weight safely, he shouldn't push himself and risk it.
The worst thing, I overtrained and it hurt my back, especially when I was dehydrated. I hurt my back, and doctors came and checked my back, and yeah, they said like if you couldn't move, if you couldn't make the weight, just don't do that. So
Daniel Cormier admitted he first mistakenly claimed that Arman missed weight at UFC 311 and asked Arman Tsarukyan how he felt hearing that he missed weight. Arman explained that he was upset with the doctors. He said the doctors should have clearly told Dana White what really happened and checked his back properly, maybe even done an MRI so they could make the right decision. Arman said that because of this, Dana and others still think he had a weight issue, but he insists he never had any problems with making weight.
What do you think when you hear that from me, and then you hear it from Dana,
God.
and you're like, oh my God, this is so bad, right? Because you stepping on the scale is a great thing. But then, obviously, I have a big voice in MMA. Obviously, Dana is the voice in MMA. When you hear that, what do you think, like, as the guy that knows it wasn't a weight issue, it was a medical issue?
I'm mad on the doctors, because they're supposed to tell to Dana what really happened, or check my back and or send me to do MRI or something, and made the right decision, you know. And Dana, like, until nowadays they think like I have an issue with my weight cut.
Arman said he is a professional, and everyone close to him knows how disciplined he is. When he is in training camp or on a diet, he never eats junk food or breaks his routine. He explained that there is no way he would miss such an important fight because of weight. Arman said it was the biggest fight of his life, a chance to change his future, make a lot of money, and even become champion. That's why he insists he would never risk it by not making weight.
I'm professional, and like everybody who is close to me, they know me. If I'm in the camp or if I'm on a diet, I never eat like outside, and I'm so disciplined for that. And how can I miss that fight for the weight? It's like biggest fight in my life. It's gonna change my life as well, and I'm gonna make a lot of money, and like after, and I could be a champion, and my life is gonna change, you know.
However, Dana White hasn't agreed yet and made it clear that Arman Tsarukyan will not get a title shot next. He said that although Arman did a good job making weight as a backup at 155 pounds, it doesn't mean he will get a title fight right now. Dana explained that this was just a step in the right direction, but Arman still has more to prove before earning a championship opportunity.
Tsarukyan, he weighed in as a backup fighter. He weighed in successfully at 155 pounds. So with that being said, is it safe to say that he will now fight for the title next?
No, it's a good step in the right direction. Let's put it that way.
Ilia Topuria also agrees with Dana and thinks Arman Tsarukyan still has to earn his way back to a title shot. He said Arman already had a chance to fight for the title before, but pulled out for reasons no one really knows. Ilia believes Arman now needs to get another big win to prove himself and show that he really deserves another chance to fight for the belt.
Maybe a guy like Arman Tsarukyan, I know we'll focus on Charles Oliveira, and maybe you see a guy like him as a future opponent, maybe the next one after Charles.
Arman? he needs to win also a fight. He had his opportunity to fight for the title. He pulled out for, I don't know for what reasons. So he needs to put his name again in the conversation.
Ilia Topuria is more focused on fighting Paddy Pimblett as his next opponent after beating Charles Oliveira. He hopes Paddy gets another win so their big fight can finally happen. Ilia believes it's only a matter of time before they meet in the octagon, and he thinks their fight will be huge and something fans won't want to miss.
Who's next?
Who is next after
who you like
Charles?
in the division?
I don't know. Hopefully Paddy. Hopefully, yeah, hopefully. Hopefully he gets one more fight. He wins that fight, of course, and finally we can be in the same octagon together. It's just a matter of time. I think that it's gonna happen. If you ask me, it's gonna happen.
Ilia Topuria even said that a fight with Paddy Pimblett would be much bigger than a fight with Islam Makhachev. He explained that Paddy brings more hype and attention from fans, while Islam doesn't create the same excitement even in his own region. Ilia believes that facing Paddy would make for a much more popular and talked about fight.
I think that it's gonna be even bigger, me against Paddy, than me against Islam, because the one who that no one gives a f about him, that's Islam. No one gives a f. Even in Dagestan, when he's fighting, the people goes to sleep and they watch his fight in the morning.
Meanwhile, Ilia Topuria doesn't hide his dislike for Paddy Pimblett because of their long rivalry. Even though he calls Paddy a hypocrite and says he hasn't earned the fight, Ilia still wants to face him in the octagon and would accept the fight right away. Ilia thinks it would be an easy win for him and believes the fans would enjoy all the trash talk and build-up. However, he said the result would not be a surprise, and he is sure it would be another dominant victory for him.
Bueno, está Paddy, por ejemplo.
Él es otro hipócrita, yo te lo digo. Yo recuerdo una vez compartimos una rueda de prensa y él me dijo una cosa que era: mira, yo estoy peleando en el main card, tú estás peleando en los preliminares, tipo una bobada así. Y yo ahora me pregunto, yo tengo 2 cinturones, ¿tú dónde estás? ¿Sabes? ¿Quién es Paddy Pimblett ahora mismo y por qué se tendría que merecer ahora mismo pelear conmigo? La verdad que si pudiera yo elegir una pelea.
So Arman Tsarukyan isn't holding back. He believes Ilia Topuria is overhyped and says Ilia is easier than Charles. Many MMA pros agree, warning that Arman is the real threat in the lightweight division and calling him the true test for Topuria. While Ilia has his eyes on Paddy Pimblett, most fighters and fans think Arman is the one who can truly challenge and possibly finish him. The question now is, will Topuria step up and face the real deal?